Well, the weekend is coming to an end, but it doesn't mean we have to end things here. Now, there is no new actually wrestling that we are going to reviewing. However, I decided, you know what? Let's just review certain events that already happened not too long ago, and all three of them date back all the way to February 18th. That's right. The first one is, of course, Rev Pro with high stakes featuring, of course, the final match with Will Ospreay, where he faces Michael Oku for the Undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. Then we move on with Deadlock Pro Wrestling, DPW, where they made their way to Pasadena, Texas. We do have two title matches taking place, the world title and the national title. And then finally, we have West Coast Pro making their way to LA for Under the Bridge. This one does feature, of course, a title match as well. And then, of course, I think we will not be doing no news updates today. So basically, all three of updates for everybody. But let's just focus on the all three of these shows. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do more real timing news updates to keep you guys updated on alerts on what's going on in the world of pro wrestling. We do the Unaga Sayaka Watch and various other cool things on this channel. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, we got that all the way for all introductions on this particular channel. Let's begin with RevPro. Okay, RevPro, or as it Revolution Pro Wrestling. This is their much recent show, High Stakes. This took place recently on the 18th of February. Now, if you're new to the channel, if you're unfamiliarized with this promotion, this is one of the top two independent promotions in the UK. Now, there is no major promotion in the UK, if anybody asks. But RevPro has pretty good talent. So does Progress Wrestling. But for me, I love RevPro. They do have some amazing matches and talent. They're we had many wrestlers that been there, such as Will Ospreay, Ozzy Open, even wrestlers who have been under excursions, such as the Great Okan, Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino, and various others. Even Ricky Knight Jr., the nephew of Saraya, is there too. So if you guys never seen this promotion, you should check it out. Now, our first this recent show, High Stakes, just took place on the 18th of February. Originally, this match started out to be a six-way scramble match featuring Shaw Samuels versus Cameron Kai versus Richard Holiday versus Flash Morgan Webster versus Spike Trevette from Progress, then Shigehiro Iri. Now, while all six wrestlers were ready to start, apparently an unexpected visitor showed up, and that is none other than freshly squeezed himself, Orange Cassidy. He showed up out of nowhere. So it's still unclear what was going on, but the most surprising news is he decided he was going to put the AEW International title on the line, so the match went into a 7-way scramble match. Now, that total moron Gideon Gray was not happy about Orange Cassidy. He thinks that he's making a mistake. I'm like, this is not you, Gideon Gray. I thought you'd be happy knowing that some of your guys could, one of your favorite guys that could actually take this title. I mean, he's a real moron and not being realistic about it. But anyway, Orange Cassidy will have a target in his back because all the other 6 competitors will definitely want that belt. It's no secret about that. But the obvious thing is who was going to walk away with it. Well, that kind of goes into moments where, okay, one takes out the other. But it was Orange Cassidy that applied a orange punch on Richard Holiday and retained the title. Now, he gave a little promo, so he was there only doing like a promotional thing because, as you know, AEW returns to the UK in August for All In. So I'm sure they're trying to get more of the attention for this upcoming event in August. So I think that's a pretty good way. Now, our next match, we have the RevPro Undisputed British Women's Championship. We have the challenger, Sapphire Reed. Don't know who she is, but she faces against someone who I am familiarized from both in NXT UK and TNA Impact, Dani Luna. So, yes, so Dani Luna is the current champion. I never expected that coming from her, to be honest with all of you. But the match was pretty good. I mean, not much on Sapphire Reed that I know much of it. I know that she had a number 1 contendership. But however, it was Dani Luna who walked away when she applied a modified power bomb into Sapphire Reed to retain the belt. However, as soon as she left the ring, there was a commotion in the back, and she was brought back to the ring with a collar around her neck by Alex Windsor, the former champion. I'm sure she is crying like a little girl, questioning that she has lost the belt towards someone like her. But that's exactly what happened. But yeah. So we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have a couple of guys named Carrion Lacey and Mark True. They take on the Youngbloods. We're talking about Oscar Lobe and Yuto Nakashima. No longer young lions, but now they're becoming on their own. I have to say, they have become a very good tag team. I mean, despite the fact that Oscar Lobe, he's from Germany, and Yuto Nakashima's from Japan, but they have become good friends and teammates during their time as young lions in the New Japan Dojo. And I thought it was pretty cool. But you probably would think, will these guys be able to withstand guys like Lacey and True? Well, they did. Apparently, they applied some sort of move on True, but it was Oscar Lobe who picked up the win. I thought, fantastic, great. Now, they made some interesting announcement. Now, as you know, New Japan had Fantastica Mania. Well, guess what, folks? The, CML will make their way straight to the UK for their version, for their own Fantastica Mania UK. So this will take place on the 19th of May. CML talent will be there. Now, they never say who was going to be there, but I'm sure everybody's going to have fun, and I'm sure they're going to bring catering to make tacos for everybody, because there was a photo with Desperado sharing it with none other than his little sister, Starlight Kid, and Ruka. So, yes. So that's a lot of fun. Now, our next match, we have JJ Gale versus Luke Jacobs. Now, I'm not familiar too much with JJ Gale. I may have heard his name on a few occasions, but Luke Jacobs, yes, I have heard of him. He is, I think he was part of the group known as the Young Guns with him and some other dude, but I think they might have broke up or whatever. But it was a fantastic match. I mean, Luke Jacobs, he was the undisputed British Cruiserweight champion. But fantastic match. But he was able to pick up the win with the screwdriver, and it was over right from there. And he did put out a promo. Now, I couldn't make out what he was saying. Not because I think it was his language barrier. I think it's because, I don't know, I couldn't hear the audio pretty well. But nonetheless, it was good. Now, our next match, we have Robbie X taking on Mustafa Ali. That's right, folks. Mustafa makes his journey to the UK, and man, he is there making a draw. Gideon Gray was happy to see him, but he did not like what he saw. Tried to help out the ring announcer with giving her a hand to get down from the ring. I'm like, you little wuss. He wants him to be mean. I mean, what about Ali We Trust? That shows he's a moron. But anyway, the match was great. You knew this match was going to be a bit of the junior cruiserweight style of wrestling or high flying spots, no matter what you're going to do. But, however, in the end of this match, it was a 450 splash by Mustafa Ali to, of course, Robbie Eagles. But he put out an amazing promo at the end of his post match, talking about Robbie X, that the only reason he came to the UK was to wrestle a guy like him. So basically, I'm pretty sure there were wrestlers he had on his radar that he will love to wrestle, and I think Robbie X was one of them. And I think it brought good attention, knowing yes, he recognizes guys like him. So we'll see what happens. Now our next match, we have Trent Seven taking on the Dragon, Shingo Takagi. Now you know this is gonna be a total Haas fight. Chops, forearms, all kinds of stuff was gonna be involved in that match, like you wouldn't imagine. Now, I would assume that either Shingo was gonna pull off with the Last Dragon or whatever, but it took many pumping bombers by Shingo Takagi to put away Trent Seven. So fantastic match. I mean, he really put him into his limit, so I can say that. Our next match, we have Anthony Ogogo taking on Ricky Knight Jr. Now, those who don't know who he is the nephew of Zack Knight and Saraya. So basically, yes, he is an excellent champion. He even stood toe to toe against guys like Will Ospreay and all that. But fantastic match. But however, Anthony Ogogo, when he normally does those moments where he punches his opponent, they're knocked out. He puts the UK flag, and then out of nowhere, Ricky Knight Jr. showed up, got up, acting like he's the goddamn Undertaker. Like, rest in peace. And of course, Anthony was like, what the hell? But another, how do I say, a fist into the face, and then he pinned him this time instead of count out. So he knew it's like, this has to end right there. But yeah. Now, our next match, we have Connor Mills taking on Zack Sabre Jr. So you probably wouldn't think that this match was going to be crazy. You know that Connor Mills definitely would love nothing more to take on, of course, a guy like Zack Sabre Jr., a well-recognized wrestler and who has been considered by many as one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. So you would think that Connor Mills would try to find ways to outdo him or try to outmaneuver. But however, I was expecting, for me as a fan, thinking Zack Sabre Jr. would put him in a submission. Nope. It took multiple PKs to put him down. And that was pretty much it from there. Now, our main event is the RevPro Undisputed British Heavyweight title. Now, when Will Ospreay announced that he was going to AEW, he decided that he wanted to take this title with him. He feels that he cannot entrust this title to Michael Oku. Michael Oku and Will Ospreay had tangled before, but Will Ospreay told Michael Oku's wife to throw the towel when she sees it, but she refuses to do that. No matter what, even throughout the entirety of the match, the more time Will Ospreay tried to brutalize Michael Oku, he refuses to stay down. But there was a moment she wanted him, Will Ospreay wanted her, Amari, to throw in the towel. She slapped him, then he kicked her down. But man, Michael Oku refuses to stay down. He refuses to let this belt go straight away from the promotion. But it took him, like, I don't know exactly what kind of, it looked more like a single Boston crab leg that forced Will Ospreay to tap, and it was over from there. So Michael Oku keeps the belt. And I did mention this. Fightful Select believes that AEW should sign Michael Oku. I mean, I don't mind that either. But the real question is, what does Michael Oku think? But that's another conversation for another time. And then, of course, Will Ospreay did a little promo, talked about his time in British wrestling. He even talked about Tony Khan, who was present, and He said that there's nothing that there'll be more things to come when he's in AEW and that sort of thing. And he left by wearing the AEW jacket, and of course, Zack Sabre Jr. showed him, gave him a hug. Knowing that yes, this journey of him is done, but he'll be stepping into a new journey. So it was a pretty good show, not gonna lie, but it was a lot of fun. So I think that's pretty much it right now with RevPro. Let's move on with Deadlock Pro Wrestling Forever. Okay, Deadlock Pro Wrestling Forever. Now, this particular show was done in Pasadena, Texas, but it was actually happened on the 18th of February, but it wasn't broadcast until the 24th. Just to make things clear, those who may or may not have Deadlock Pro Wrestling on demand. But it starts out with tag team action. We have Culture Inc., Eli Knight, and Malik Boseed. Now, these jokers, as you know, Deadlock Pro Wrestling originated from Raleigh, North Carolina. They thought they were in North Carolina, but nope, they were in Pasadena, Texas. Much like what we saw last time with, of course, with the Ass Boys, thinking they were in one location during the first Forbidden Door. They thought they were in Dallas. I mean, I think it is in a Dallas. No, it's in the Houston region. My bad. But they face against MXM, which is Mason Madden and Matt Soar, formerly from WWE. As you know, they recently made their presence known there, and their number one goal being in DPW, since we know that the tag team division in DPW is so red hot at the moment. They want the tag team titles, but they have to go through Culture Inc. Now, you would think that they were the fan favorites of this. Well, they were, because they applied the centerfold. I don't know which who, but it was a sweet victory. So now they are sending a message to the current DPW World Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. It's only a matter of time until they obtain those belts. Now, our next match, we have Rachel Rose, who we haven't seen for quite some time, who's also the DPW Women's Champion, the first ever, takes on Hyan. So, Hyan originally was supposed to be in DPW not too long ago to face against Emi Sakura when she was the DPW Women's Championship, but that circumstances change. Now, you would think that these two ladies will be more than capable of trying to be in the conversation for the DPW Women's Championship. Well, you may be right, but it was, of course, high end with the beauty sleep. It only took two tries to, no, two attempts, no, not two attempts. Like, she put two beauty sleeps high end onto Rachel Rose in order to win the match. Now, you probably think, oh, she just could have done with one. Nope. It was second for making sure she does not get up, and that's exactly what she did. So right now, her two goals is to have a match against Emi Sakura, but also an opportunity for DPW Women's title. Now, our next match, this one is a very fantastic story. Now, for months, Kevin Knight, Kevin Blackwood, who has been making appearances in DPW, has been unable to pick up wins. In a recent event, he was in a match with Alec Price, the forgot what they call him, the Northeast Beast, I think. Yeah, frustrated at the fact that he's been unable to pick up the win, and always him getting the win. But however, this match was indicating, as you know, will Kevin Blackwood finally get that win that he needs, or will Alec Price prove his point? Well, I have to say it took many attempts by Alec Price to put away Kevin Blackwood. I mean, you would think that Price had every arsenal in disposal to put him away, and that's exactly what he did. But however, it was the double stump by Blackwood that put away Alec Price and finally getting his first win. So the real question is, where do we go from here? Well, I assume that he will try to pick up another win, hopefully be in a title conversation. But that's only for time to tell. Now, our next match, we have a tag match. We have the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake, taking on uh, Chris Danger, and of course, one half of his mentors. And you guys already know this. Chris Danger teamed up with Sean Spears. He teams up with Tyler Breeze. So that's right. Chris Danger was one of Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears' students. So it's basically very different the way. But the Workhorsemen, many people over time since the loss of the tag titles, they haven't been the baddest men ever. I think that was what drove them to the edge. But however, they were able to isolate Tyler Breeze in order to pick up the win against um, Chris Danger, and that's exactly what happened. Now, Chris Danger was willing to take the loss, but of course, Anthony Henry snapped, realizing that they need to get back to their roots where they are supposed to be the baddest men in DPW. They haven't been those guys since the loss of the tag titles. Now, I'm sure that they will definitely get back to that as soon as possible. Now, our next match is another women's match. We have Vert Vixen versus Nicole Matthews. Now, nobody likes Nicole Matthews because, she cuts corners to get away with everything to pick up the win. But Vert Vixen, oh my God, she really put up the heat onto her, trying to put her through pain. But however, a distraction came about, and Nicole Matthews used a mist of wine into the eyes of Vert Vixen to pick up the win. But Vert Vixen was not happy with the fact that she lost in this form of fashion. I'm sure she'll get a little payback for what she caused, but only time will tell about that too. Now, our next match, this is a three-way match for the DPW World Title. We have Gringo Loco versus Stephen Wolf versus Calvin Tegman. However, this match, Stephen Wolf, as you know, he's a cocky SOB. Nobody likes him in Texas since they're not. He has the new Texas championship. And, of course, he thought he can get away with it when he tried to outsmart Tankman and Gringo Loco, but it wasn't enough because he got himself chopped in the face. But you would think there would be many moments. But, however, I have to say great moments between Gringo Loco and Tankman in every way possible. But however, the obvious question is who's going to walk out. Don't forget, Tankman doesn't initially need to be pinned, but anything's a possibility. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case in this match because Tankman applied the Tankman driver onto Gringo Loco to retain the DPW World Title. Now, our main event features the DPW National Championship. Jake Something has had his eyes set on this belt, and he faces against the bounty hunter, Brian Keith. Now, it's no secret, I remembered that he had his eyes set on that belt. Even Mike Bailey mentioned this before, too. So, you would think that a guy like Jake Something, who has an amazing powerhouse that would put away Brian Keith, but Brian Keith, with his resilience, his determined to collect the bounty, was going to be the factor. And that's exactly what he did. Now, we know that I did notice how Brian Keith tried to apply the Tiger Driver many a times, but it took only a few times to try to wear down Jake Something. It took only that one time just for Brian Keith to apply the Tiger Driver, and it was over right there, and he retained the national championship. So I think that's pretty much it with DPW. So let's move on to our next and final review, and that would be, of course, West Coast Pro. All right, West Coast Pro, Under the Bridge. Yes, the title of the show is titled after the same song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So if you guys are Red Hot Chili Peppers fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, at certain points during either the start of the show, intermission, yes, they were playing that song Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, it's a beautiful song. I even worked their show once before. Those who know this, I'm actually work security at live events. That includes concerts and convention events. So yes, so I got that out of the way. So anyway, yes, this is I think this is their first time being in LA. I'm not sure, but yes. So this show took place in LA on the 18th of February. Opening match, we have women's action. We have Charisma versus the top tier Jasmine Allure. So yes, you probably would think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Jasmine Allure, who you may or may not know, she's always been like the one person who's trying to prove she's at the top of the mountain in every way. We've seen that with her in Mission Pro and other promotions, and that's exactly what she did. So she applied her move, the teardrop. It's kind of like a backdrop driver, but that's what she calls it. Picked up the win. Now our next match, we have, well, this is a very interesting one. We have Jaguar Montana, Lazarus, Ice Williams, and Bad Dude Tito. They take on Keita Murray, Ishmael Vaughn, Jaio Jewel, and Vinny Masario. Now, apparently there was a trade of wrestlers, so Keita Murray went to Lazarus, Ice Williams, and Bad Dude Tito, while Jaguar went with Ishmael, Jewel, and Vinny Masario. So a very simple trade, not a big deal. But you know this type of match would have been chaotic in some ways because, of course, referee has to maintain control. You wouldn't think otherwise. But, however, in the end of this match, it was Ishmael Vaughn who picked up an amazing win when he speared, what's his name? Ice Williams, and it was over. I thought it was fun. A real fun match. Now, next one, we have singles action, Alpha Zoe versus Beef. Now, Alpha Zoe has not been in a good place at all. As you know, recently he came up short to try to defeat, what's his name? Starboy Charlie for the West Coast Pros World title, which he did not win. So he has to get now through Beef. So basically, he needs to get himself back into the hunt for that belt. But this was a total Hawks fight, if you notice. But it was Beef who picked up the win when he saw Alpha Zoe got overconfident and overzealous of what he was doing. So he rolled him up. 1, 2, 3. It was over. I think Alpha Zoe should have been focusing what he needs to do if he wants to get back to get another shot of the West Coast Pro World title. So yes. So we'll see what happens. Our next match, we have Lee Moriarty, Jacob Fatu, and Leo Rush taking on Los Vipers. Toxin and Latigo, they team up with Black Taurus. Now, I'm sure he's going to have his name changed real soon due to situation with AAA. But it was nonetheless a pretty good match. Not going to lie, I was like very impressed. Now, if you're not a fan of Lucha Libre, then you guys are missing out. And I have to say, great combinations and all that. And of course, the Hawks fight between both Black Taurus and Jacob Fatu was fantastic. But it was Latigo who picked up the win by pinning Leo Rush, and it was over right from there. Now, our next match, we have a women's tag match. We have Trish Adora and Queen Aminata taking on the ladies from Marvelous. We're talking about Miyu Momono and Takumi Iroha. So, yes. Interesting fact about this, if you guys know this, Queen Aminata did a tour between 2021 and 2022, I believe, with Marvelous. And she's really good friends with those ladies. But, man, that match was fantastic. Now, if either Trish Adora or Queen Aminata would have picked up the win, the person they would have pinned was Takumi Iroha. Reasons behind that: Takumi Iroha is the current West Coast Pro Women's Champion. So that would have been a factor to put into this matchup because who knows who would have been the next challenger. I'm not sure if she's challenging anybody anytime soon, but yes. But it was, of course, the running 3 by Takumi onto Trish Adora, and it was over right there. And Takumi and Mio picked up the good win. So that's a win for the Marvelous girls. Now, our next match. Now, Chris Hero versus Adrian Quest. Now, Chris Hero had to deal with Adrian Quest and his knuckleheads of morons of Los Suavecitos taking this whole LA scenery, taking on the guys from the Bay Area. So Hero decided to banish Los Suavecitos. Now, you would think this match would have gone smoothly, but no. For some odd reason, those pieces of idiots of trash Suavecito showed up and attacked Chris Hero. They were not going to let this slide. But out of nowhere, Chris Hero gets a very unusual save from Titus Alexander. You probably say, those who know Titus Alexander, of the kind of wrestler he is, you'll be like, what the fudge? Yes. I mean, he did the same thing with Starboy Charlie last time. I'm like, what is going on here? But yet the numbers game continued. The match ended in no DQ, in a disqualification, but unexpectedly a third figure showed up, and it turned out to be none other than Konosuke Takeshita. So you wouldn't think that way, but however, Chris Hero, as you know, as the matchmaker of West Coast Pro, decided, you know what? Since you guys like to break rules, let's make this into a 6-man, and that's exactly what we have. Man, you know Los Suavecitos and Adrian Quest will stop at nothing to prove their point, but there was still no match for the franchise, and of course Takeshita, but it was Chris Hero who in fact picked up the win when he piled drive Quest, and it was over. But you gotta ask yourselves, will Quest and Los Suavecitos learn the lesson? Well, we'll just have to see the next time. But during a promo, there was a reason why Takeshita was there. It turns out, from what Chris Hero said in his post match, while he was doing a tour of Japan, a 10-year-old boy was showing him around the facility and all that, and he revealed that 10-year-old boy is none other than Takeshita himself. So, of course, it was more like, a full circle moment where Chris Hero decided to bring in this young, talented kid back into the fold. I think that's really cool. So hopefully we get to see more of Takeshita in West Coast Pro. I'm sure many of you who are from the Bay Area, or if you are nearby the Bay Area, will love to see that match. Now, our main event, we have the West Coast Pro World Title. The challenger Aramis versus Starboy Charlie. Now, to be honest with you, I wasn't too sure about this match because, as you know, I don't know if Aramis would have been my choice to see him challenge for the West Coast Pro title. I would have assumed from the start that it would have been Kevin Blackwood, but no, it was Aramis. But of course, there was going to be some spots regarding with Aramis because of his high-flying luchador experience. But unfortunately, it was, of course, a what was it? It was a fantastic bridge by Starboard Charlie that pinned Aramis to retain the belt. So, nonetheless, the show was good. There was some really good matches I did enjoy. Not to mention Takeshita surprising everyone there. So, yeah, I really had fun with this show. It's pretty good. So, I think that's pretty much it with all of our reviews. And like I said before, there is no news updates for today. So, let's just call it a day. Okay, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I decided I'm going to do something different for our next episode. The entirety of the episode for next one, which I believe is 1338, it's going to be all Japan Pro Wrestling with their latest show. Yes, I'm going to have to do all of them. So it's going to be a real interesting thing to watch, but we'll see where it goes from here. I do have some Pro Wrestling Noah shows I haven't reviewed yet. I may do that maybe after that, the following day. I'm not sure. The GCW Touch the Sky, but we'll see what happens. But for right now, this is the plan for the next episode. Everything is all Japan Pro Wrestling. So, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.